the Ashoka Vatika. But we tend to forget that in one of the Ramayana versions, she challenges Ram when he says, go with whoever you want, choose Lakshmana, choose Hanuman, choose Vibhishana. I finished my duty and fulfilled my Kshatriya dharma. And she takes him to task. Who are you to challenge me? You have done so much wrong in your life. You hid behind a tree and you killed Vali. You acted like a coward. So who are you to, and you are not yet a king. Remember that. You are not yet crowned king. You are my husband and I'm your wife. So we write these women's voices out of our history books, or we don't tell our children, or we tend to not want to know the other side of what our famous icons and our tropes and women who we hold up to some impossible standards of morality are supposed to live up to. We also tend to forget Trijata, Vibhishana's daughter. Who is she? She was in Lanka, in the garden, in the Ashoka Vatika, and she was Sita's companion. She was the one bringing news from the palace to Sita, and she was the one who was giving Sita the courage to say, you know, Ram will come. Trijata is a very important character. When any of you go to Sri Lanka and you talk to somebody who's a historian, they will say that this is our princess. Sita is our daughter. She was born here in our country. Ravana did not abduct her to marry her. Ravana abducted her because he didn't want her to suffer 14 years in the forest. He wanted to keep her comfortable. So Ravana, even in Tamil culture, is a very respected king. Remember, he's the only king with a musical instrument on his dwaja, on his flag, the veena. And he was such a learned astrologer that he knew the time of his death, he could choose it. So we have versions where Sita and Trijata and Mandodari and Shurpanakha are actually proud, valiant, valorous, educated women. Maybe their wise counsel, what Mandodari said, what Tara, wife of Vali, said, was not heeded at the time by the men. Maybe the story needed them to be ignored so that it could play out like a big canvas of egos where women ultimately are regarded as pawns. But remember when you reread the Ramayana that the story doesn't move without its women. When we go to the Mahabharata, it is really a masculine story, and we tend to look at Draupadi as she's the cause of the war. Sita is the cause of the war. But what triggered that? The horrendous attempted rape, the disrobing. And we tend to forget Yudhishthira, the weak king, who just could not stop gambling. So I just want us to rethink of our stories and think of what it means when we take the women out of these very important narratives that exist in our cultural DNA. When we name our children after our goddesses or sometimes our heroines, we hope that they are endowed with qualities that their names should bring them. But we hesitate to name our daughters Sita or Draupadi, and certainly we don't name them Shurpanakha. We actually say, please go comb your hair, Shurpanakha madri vandu nikkade. You know? And we are very quick to body shame women who may not be a size 0 and say, Ennamma, Hidimbi madri irkava. Hidimbi was Bhima's wife. She was a tribal woman. And so we tend to look at these women in our stories who don't conform to our idea of whatever it is, the photoshopping and the coloring that all our digital gadgets give us, and we refer to them in the derogatory way, and we take these heroines and they've become pejoratives, you know, somebody who looks like Shurpanakha means somebody who's really very unattractive. Or somebody who looks like Hidimbi means somebody who's very large. And so see how, and somebody who spins a tale and a yarn, it's like Hanuman's tale. The story is never ending. But our, our thing is about women. Did you know that Andal, whose month is starting very soon on the 16th of December, if we think of her as this very sweet girl with a konde on the side and one male, but we tend to not read her poetry from the Natya Tirumuri, in which she says, I dare any man to touch my body. It'll be like a fox sniffing at a sacrifice. My breasts are only meant for Krishna, Ranga. And the same Andal who says so boldly, and remember she was still a teenager, that Ranga as Krishna, come in the avatar of Narasimha. Use your sharp claws and tear my breasts with passion. So those parts of her poetry, I was forbidden to read when I was growing up. I was only told the 30 Tirupave, sweet, sweet songs, where she just was, because she was a young girl, maybe 8, 9, 10, 11. The later poems called the Natya Tirumuri, the sacred songs of the lady, were written much later, and they're full of eroticism, which we also tell our women, we deny our girls reading them. We don't want them to get fancy ideas, maybe. So when I attempted my Andal, it was with Natya Tirumuri that Sujita is referring to, it was considered a very bold step 22 years ago. That's when I did it. When we talk about the heroines in our heroines from historical epics, we have what? Rani of Jhansi. We talk of her amazing feats of trying to safeguard her kingdom. But all these women, the royal women, we must also learn about Onake Obbaya of Karnataka, Bibi Dalar Kaur of Punjab, Rani Velu Nachiyar of Madurai, Rani Ambika Chauta of Mangalore, and Navakaluru Nagamma of Telangana. We haven't heard these names. Many of you may not have heard these names. Each of them have fabulous stories, very much like Lakshmi Bai. Each of them took up the sword after their husbands perished. And we have to remember royal women were initiated into the art of warfare. It was part of their training. So they couldn't just take up the sword without ever having learnt it. It was always there. They always had to be prepared to defend themselves and always had to be prepared for sacrifice. But our history books need to take note of these amazing heroines, equal in real life and not part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm sure all of you have your favorite characters, your favorite heroines, a moment in these stories of the Mahabharata and the Ramayana. But I want us once again to take a moment and think about the word, hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. Shakespeare didn't write it. We think it was Shakespeare. No, it was written by William Congreve for an English play. But we tend to look at an angry woman, a cynical woman, a bitter woman, filled with revenge. And that's what we tend to, and film and tales and all new writing on Netflix and Amazon, they have lots of women on the warpath. But what drives them to that? What drives them to the point when they feel they have to take that step? You must have seen enough movies of women whose children have been taken away from them or everything destroyed, and then they assume another avatar. So there's always a backstory to a woman who's ready to kill, because a woman is more ready to nurture than to kill and destroy. So it's I think it's crucial for us. We don't even have to look at Hollywood, but we need to relook at our own stories, and that very fact that you have a Marvel heroine in your own lives, in your own homes. You would have an amazing mother, grandmother, great aunt, one person who either held the family together, who was a refuge for you while growing up, who was a fund of knowledge, wisdom, information, cooking, recipes. She too is a heroine. She may not be in the history books, but she should be in your own mind screen of your own history books. And so I think I want to end by saying that it's not just the movies that we should look at. We should look once again at our own history, our incomplete knowledge of India's own history, that we only had part of the information, that there are stories of inspiration, of courage and progress and sacrifice that are continually being made. The presence of women in Rotary is one example that gives me great pride and joy. I learnt from dance from some amazing Marvel heroines, Rukmini Devi Arundale, who did so much for the new face of Bharatanatyam and global dance. She was the architect of Kalakshetra, and I studied there. So in our lives, there are women who deserve to be recognized, honored, and celebrated. I want to take this moment to urge you to take that moment to remember these amazing women, not just in our Puranas or Itihasa, not just on the screen, not just on our digital device, but in our homes, in our lives, and in our memories that must not fade. Thank you.